Tashdile, you're watching Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines first. His Holiness the Dalai Lama affirms to live long to fulfill aspirations of Tibetans. His Holiness the Dalai Lama graces opening ceremony of Monlam Grand Dictionary. His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration congratulate Anthony Albanese on his election as Australian Prime Minister. Kalon Norzin Dolma congratulates new Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong and Australian Parliamentarian Entsch. Kalon Tharlam Dolma attends TCV Chauntra's cultural show dedicated to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Australia-Tibet Council launches new report on systematic attack on Tibetan religious identity. Rigzin Choedon Genkhang assumes charge as new representative of Office of Tibet, Brussels. Tibetan Community in Geneva marks 71 years of Duress signing of 17-point agreement. On Wednesday this week, a long life offering was presented to His Holiness the Dalai Lama by members of the Sakya tradition of Tibetan Buddhism at the Genkhang, the main temple in Dharamshala. Hierarchs of both palaces, the Dolma Potang and Phuntsok Potang, headed by Sakya Thakti Rinpoche, led the ceremonies. Thanking the hierarchs of both palaces for the long life offering, His Holiness said that he will pray that he will live more than 100 years of age in order to fulfill the Tibetan people's wishes and aspirations, and hence ask his followers to make the same prayer.
치 표자집 망기 치 렌더도 간도 말에 사네 나를 심슈를 계시 되기 치 로자스 사마슴 대투야지기 남말람 제기 저창즈 아니 딜루 통문나쇼.
Led by Sakya Thakti Rinpoche, the members of the Dolma and Phuntsok Potangs have made this long life offering based on the wish-fulfilling will of White Tara. On Monday this week, the 43rd Sakya Trizin Kyundung Gyana Vajra Rinpoche, the head of Sakya School of Tibetan Buddhism, visited the new Tibet Museum of the Central Tibetan Administration based in Khangjin Kishong, Dharamshala. The 43rd Sakya Trizin Rinpoche was accompanied during the visit by the 42nd Sakya Trizin Ratna Vajra Rinpoche, Kyundung Avikitra Vajra Sakya Rinpoche, Apaya Vajra Sakya, and Kyundung Asanga Vajra Sakya Rinpoche. His Holiness the Dalai Lama graced the opening ceremony of Monlam Grand Dictionary at the main temple in McLeodganj this morning. His Holiness in his address applauded the depth and richness of Tibetan religion and culture in generating peace of mind. His Holiness the Dalai Lama congratulated Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on his party's victory of the Australian parliamentary election on Sunday last week. In his letter to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, His Holiness stated that Tibetans have been honored to enjoy the support of the Australian people and their respective leaders in effort to preserve Tibetan Buddhist cultural heritage, and wish the Prime Minister every success in meeting the challenges that lie ahead in fulfilling the Australian people's hopes and aspirations and in contributing to a more harmonious world. Speaker Khenpo Sonam Temple of the Tibetan Parliament in Exile and Sikyong Pempa Tsering, on behalf of Tibetans in and outside Tibet, extended their heartfelt congratulations to Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on taking the oath of office and assumption of office as the 31st Prime Minister of Australia. The speaker also congratulated Australian parliamentarians Susan Templeman and Warren Entsch, the co-chairs of Australian All-Party Parliamentary Group for Tibet, on getting re-elected as the members of the Australian Parliament. Kalon Norzin Dolma of the Department of Information and International Relations congratulated Senator Penny Wong, who was sworn in as the new Foreign Minister of Australia following the victory of Australian Labor Party leader Anthony Albanese as the new Prime Minister of Australia. In her congratulatory letter to the newly sworn Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kalon Norzin Dolma extended her gratitude for the active advocacy executed by the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Tibet, which has been a tremendous help in amplifying the global Tibet movement. Kalon Norzin Dolma also congratulated Australian parliamentarian Warren Entsch on his re-election to the Australian Parliament in the recently concluded Australian general election. Warren Entsch is the co-chair of the Australian All-Party Parliamentary Group for Tibet and was also one of the first parliamentarians to wish Kalon Norzin Dolma following her appointment as the Kalon of the 16th Kashak in November last year. Kalon Tharlam Dolma of the Department of Education CTA attended TCV Chauntra's cultural performance event held to express gratitude to His Holiness the Dalai Lama as a chief guest on Monday this week. Following the school visit, the Education Kalon presided over the main function where the President of German Aid to Tibetans, Heidi Mayer, and her colleagues took part as special guests. In her address, the chief guest emphasized the importance of creating platforms for students to discover their talents in dancing and singing. Reminding the graciousness of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in providing traditional and modern education at the event, she stressed to students to be moral and dedicated towards service for the greater good through enthusiastic and persistent studying while dissuading them from being negligent. On the 27th anniversary of the forced disappearance of 11th Panchen Lama Gyaltsab Gyaltsab, the Australia-Tibet Council launched its new report on the systematic attack on Tibetan religious identity titled Overcoming Obstacles, Protecting Tibetan Religious Identity on Tuesday last week at NSW State Parliament in Sydney. Sikyong Pemba sent a veto message on the occasion, thanking the Australia-Tibet Council, members of the NSW State Legislative and Tibetan Community for raising awareness about the 11th Panchen Lama, who was abducted by the Chinese authorities in 1995 at the very young age of 6, and sought international community to help the Tibetans in creating more awareness on Panchen Rinpoche Gyaltsab Gyaltsab and putting pressure on the Chinese government to tell the world community about the whereabouts and well-being of Panchen Rinpoche and to reinstate him in the religious leadership that he is born to do. Honorable Jamie Pagar, member of the NSW Legislative Assembly, Joint Representative Karma Singhi, and the Tibetan community of NSW in launching this important report that outlines the efforts of the Chinese Communist Party to destroy and sinicize Tibetan Buddhism. The Liaison Office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama for Japan and East Asia organized a workshop and press conference at the Japan Parliament Building Conference Hall on the 27th anniversary of the forced disappearance of the 11th Panchen Lama Gyaltsab Gyaltsab. Representative Dr. Tsewang Gyalpo Arya in his talk stated about how the world ignored Tibet's tragedy some 70 years ago and how it emboldened China and other totalitarian regimes in making territorial intrusions. Mr. Ishikawa Akimasa, General Secretary of the All Japan Parliamentary Group for Tibet, Professor Ishihama Yumiko of Waseda University, and Wen Kobayashi Shue of Super Samga were among the panelists. Rigzin Genkhang, who has been appointed as the new representative for the Office of Tibet, Brussels, formally took charge from the representative of Office of Tibet, Brussels, Mr. Tashi Pinzok, on Thursday last week. A brief ceremony of handing over was held at the Office of Tibet in Brussels, and Mr. Chimi Rigzin, representative of Office of Tibet, Geneva, attended the ceremony as the official witness. Marking the 71 years of Duress signing of so-called 17-point agreement on Tibet, Tibetan Community in Geneva organized a protest in front of the UN Human Rights Council building on Monday this week. Members of the community gathered in front of the UN Human Rights Council building with banners calling China to end persecution against Tibetans and displayed placards in protest against continued illegal occupation of Tibet. While addressing the gathering, co-responsible for the French-speaking section of Swiss Tibetan Friendship Association, Mr. René Longuet adored the peaceful and non-violent resistance of Tibetan people in face of brutal oppression by the Chinese government. On behalf of the Tibet Bureau Geneva, Kalden Somo addressed the gathering. That is all for this week. See you next time and have a great weekend.